Hello dear friends and welcome to Sotnik-TV. Today is August 26, 2020. It's 8 p.m. in Moscow and our Wednesday live stream is on. My today's guest is Boris Stomachin, a political writer and former political prisoner. Hello Boris, can you hear me? Hello Alexander, yes, I can hear you. Dear viewers, I'm glad that Boris joined our Wednesday show for the second time. Boris, did you enjoy your previous appearance with us? Yes, it was quite interesting. Okay, here's my first question to determine how sincere your answers are. Are you jealous of Alexey Navalny? What do you mean? Do you mean the publicity he gets after this story about him being poisoned? Well, every time I criticize Alexey Navalny, people assume I'm envious of him. What about you? I need to know more. Well, Navalny's supporters talk about his hard luck. He suffers constantly. He's on one hand a martyr and a victim of Putin's regime on the other. He either goes to jail for 30 days or suffers another poison attack. So what should I be jealous of? On the other hand, if we consider him a martyr, I must say that I suffered more than him, so if there was a reason for anyone to be envious, he should be jealous of me. That's why I'm far from being jealous of Alexey Navalny or of anyone else in this world. I prefer to live my own life on my own terms. I see. In this case, please answer the following question. How come Ayrat Dilmuhamedov, an opposition figure from the Republic of Bashkortostan, went to prison for 9 years, while Alexey Navalny is not in prison, even though he was tried in court as well? I can't understand who poses the real threat for the authorities. Is it Mr. Navalny or Mr. Dilmuhamedov? As far as I know, Dilmuhamedov is the true opposition figure. The first time I heard about him was back in 2011 when he was in jail. This is not his first time in prison. So he is the true opposition figure whose actions pose a real threat to the empire. And I'm sure that sooner or later the empire will collapse. Mr. Dilmuhamedov expresses the will of the Bashkir people, striving for independence and creating their own state. They don't want to stay under the rule of the empire. They want to be set free. Unlike him, Mr. Navalny seems a part of the empire even though he pretends to oppose it. He simply manipulates people. Along with his crew, Mr. Navalny blows smoke and lies. They twist true ideas and meanings. By imitating an opposition, they serve the empire's goals. They serve the empire while pretending to be on the side of the opposition. The fact is, they are loyal to the empire. Navalny is a useful Kremlin pawn. He is not an opposition figure, and that's why he only gets suspended sentences. And even if he goes to prison, he doesn't stay there for more than 30 days. While the story around him suffering from poisoning seems fake to me. When I heard about this event, my first thought was to remember his history. He hadn't received much publicity recently, so this incident puts him back in the spotlight. I see your point and thank you for being sincere. Also, I would like to brush aside any accusations of us trying to attack Alexey Navalny, who is in a coma and can't talk now. By no means do we intend to attack or insult Alexey Navalny as a person. Still, he is a politician. This story over him is political, and so is our show. That's why we're talking about him as an active Russian politician. The European Union as well as the USA have already declared that once the guilty party who committed the poisoning is confirmed, the Kremlin may be facing another set of sanctions. The USA have announced that the potential sanctions will be even more severe than the ones that were implemented after Russia meddled in the president elections back in 2016. Do you think that Kremlin is thrilled with such prospects? The Kremlin's back may get up against the wall after medical clearance is released and their guilt is revealed. I don't think that the Kremlin is thrilled, as it has nothing left to lose after what has been done for the past 20 years. The Russians there are not afraid of another set of sanctions. It reminds me of poisoning rats. The rats get a tolerance to the poison after a while, and the new generation mutates and can eat the poisonous food without dying. This is similar to what we see in the recent news. So I don't think that the Kremlin is afraid of any sanctions. I guess the sanctions no longer intimidate anyone anymore. Something more extreme is required if there's to be a different reaction. If we forget that Russia is a nuclear power, I'm sure that it simply needs to be bombed instead of applying sanctions. No sanctions will work in this case. It needs to be bombed just like Yugoslavia back in the day. Well, Vladimir Putin is acting like a dangerous psychotic. He threatens the world with his nukes all the time. This man always tries to act insane and terrify his countrymen. We need to bravely face him. We have to take the gloves off and finally do what needs to be done to him. We'll be better off after he gets what he deserves. The following question is from one of our viewers. Will the Kremlin turn Navalny into a person who will be able to reset the political system in Russia? Vladimir Putin won't live forever, so the system requires someone to replace him once he leaves office. Exactly, I assume this is quite an obvious scenario. Of course, I am unable to predict the future of Russian politics, but I think this is a plausible option. Navalny is really popular. He has the reputation of a struggling hero. He was nearly assassinated and thrown into jail. He is known as the people's leader, who spoke out for them. I remember his appearance during the Moscow protest back in 2011 and 2012. His heroic background makes him the right person for the role of a new leader. So, as far as I understand, you don't believe that the tragedy over the poisoning of Alexey Navalny will somehow influence the political situation inside the country. I don't think this is a true tragedy, as I believe that it was staged. Well, personally, I feel sorry for Mr. Navalny. When I saw the convoy that was taking him to Charity Hospital from the airport in Berlin, I was impressed. This was something unusual for an opposition figure. Well, Navalny is now a personal guest of Chancellor Merkel. He is her guest from Moscow. We should remember how Chancellor Merkel has behaved in the past years. She welcomed President Putin and shook his hand after the annexation of Crimea, mass murders, and throwing a bunch of people like me into jail. A lot of them remain behind bars as we speak. But after Navalny was mysteriously poisoned, he is welcomed with honor as a personal guest along with a convoy of 23 vehicles that took him to the hospital. So he may have the reputation of an opposition leader and Putin's enemy, who was nearly assassinated by him. But I can't help thinking that such a pompous welcome, at the highest level, may only be received by a person who is a part of Putin's government. He must be a secret part of it. If I got poisoned, no one would put that much effort into taking care of me. If something happened to me or anyone else inside jail or on the outside, no one would really care. No one would take me to Germany or provide me with proper medical treatment in Russia. Why would they do this for Navalny? But when I see this convoy and so much attention given to Navalny, it simply doesn't feel right to me. They might not intend to show this, but it seems the reasons are hidden. I thank everyone for watching today's show. Thank you for being partial and following the news in Russia along with us. See you soon.